These two towns are 15 minutes apart, and one of them costs about $200,000 more just in square feet. Fort Mill versus Rock Hill, South Carolina. If you're moving to the metro area, this is the decisions most people get talked into the wrong one. So let me give you the honest answer right here in 2026 with real numbers, so you can pick the town that actually fits your life instead of the one that just been talked about the loudest. Real quick before we get started, hey, I'm Rami. I sell real estate right here in Fort Mill, and I help people relocate to this market every single week. People moving from Northeast, family upgrading from the Charlotte metro area. I get calls and emails every single day, and I generally love it. So if at any point you're thinking about, okay, what does this mean for my budget and my situations, don't overthink it. Call me, text me, use the link below. Whether you're moving in 30 days or 90 days, I'll help you make a smooth transactions and no obligations, just a quick conversation. So let's get started on breaking everything down. Let's start with the number one that actually people care about, which is price. The price is where the two towns split the hardest. Right now, typically Fort Mill homes run around 500 or more. In Rock Hill, typically homes is closer to 317. Even in the nicest part of Rock Hill, it's around 360. So we're talking a gap about $175,000 to $200,000 between these two towns. This is not a random error. This is a different in mortgages, a different down payment, and a different monthly life. Here's what the gap buys you in each side. In Fort Mill, a big chunk of the inventory is newer constructions inside amenities rich and mostly master plan and communities with pools, tracks, and a whole package. And you're paying for a premium for the school district and the newest, nicest thing on town right now. In Rock Hill, that same budget gets you a notable more home but more yard, or a renovated home with character closer to the historic core, with mostly some time with HOAs or no HOAs right now, because Rock Hill was built way before or developed way before Fort Mill. So quick heads up though, those numbers move month to month. So when you're really and actually going out there shopping, get a current read. There's exactly what I do for people on the first call. So why is Fort Mill $200,000 more? Here's the honest answer. It's mostly one word. It's schools. That's why people are moving here. We're ranked as the top school district in South Carolina and top 10 in the country. So now Fort Mill has the ranking school. The ranking is the single biggest reason people are stretching their budget to get into Fort Mill. They're buying the zip code as much as a house. And even you could find, I recently sold a house for $355 right now in 2026. So there are homes out there, so don't get disappointed. If you're looking, you might just get a smaller home. Rock Hill School is generally solid. The top high schools, Northeast and South Point, comes in a B+, and that's a good. Rock Hills are generally solid. So here's a question I ask every family. Is top district in the state worth roughly about $200,000 more for you? If you got young kids and schools are the whole reason that you're moving, the math often works, and Fort Mill wins easily. Now, if you are grown, if your kids are grown and you're going private, or it's just you and the partner, you may be paying a massive premium for a feature that you never will use. There's no universal right answer here. That's only the right answer for your household. And that's the part a good agent should be pressuring you to get out. Is it worth it for you to spend extra $200,000? So let's talk about taxes and relocation, because this is where South Carolina quietly wins, especially if you're coming from the Northeast. Property taxes here are low. In Fort Mill, the median effective property tax works out to be roughly about 0.84% of your home values, and that's because owner-occupied homes are assessed at a 4% discount on market value. So if you're coming from New Jersey, New York, Charlotte, and even Mecklenburg County, that's going to feel like a gift. And what most people miss, if you're 65 and older, this becomes your primary residence in South Carolina, exempts the first $50,000 of your home's value for the property taxes. You apply once at the county and it just stays. This is one of the most genuine senior break in South Carolina, and it's really reason retiree lean towards the South Carolina side versus the North Carolina side. On location, both towns sits in York County, right on the corridor south of Charlotte. Fort Mill is closer of the two towns, about 20 miles from uptown. Rock Hill is touching further, around 25 miles. Rock Hill has its own job base in downtown, so a lot of the folks there don't commute to Charlotte at all. Their in-town commute is more like 20 minutes. So if you work uptown, Fort Mill shaves a little off your drive, but if you don't, that advantages mostly disappear. Now, the part that spreadsheet miss an actual feel of living in each place. Fort Mill feels newer and more suburban, polished, master plan neighborhood, walkable village centers. A lot of young families, brand new everything, and it's clean and it's convenient and it's growing fast. The trade-off is the new premiere and on a busy day. It can feel a little like everyone chasing the same handful of restaurants and the same school zones. Rock Hill is bigger, older, and more established city in next door. It got a real downtown, old town with its own restaurants and festivals, plus Winthrop University, the Riverwalk, and a general identity that isn't just Charlotte suburban. You get more space for your money and more of a live-in community feel. The trade-off is the schools aren't top of the states, and part of the city varies block to block, which honestly is where locals' knowledge earns its keep. Either of these are better towns. They're built for different buyers. So let me make it simple. Here's who each town is actually for. Choose Fort Mill if the number one school district in the state is a priority and you want newer constructions in the master plan community. You're comfortable around that mid $500,000 price range, and being a few miles off to the uptown matters for you. Choose Rock Hill if you want more and more land for your money and you love the idea of maybe not having an HOA and real downtown with its own culture. Your kids are grown or schools aren't the deciding factors, and you'd rather keep the $200,000 in your pocket and put it into a bigger home. If your family's relocating from out of states with schools age kids, you're probably leaning towards Fort Mill. And if you're upgrading from inside the metro and wants maximum housing for the budget, take a hard look at Rock Hill before you assume Fort Mill is a move. Here's the truth. The right town comes down to your budget and your timeline and what you actually need the home to do for you. And that's a 10 minutes conversation, not a guess. So if you're seriously weighing Fort Mill versus Rock Hill, reach out to me, call me, text me, or just message me. I'll give you the current numbers for your exact home price range and help you toward the right neighborhood in both towns, and even if it do it in my backyard. Okay, so if this helps you, and do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. I break down the market every single week. I do a video tour. I'll be doing community drive-throughs as well, so that way you get the right information from the right person who's actually living in Fort Mill and can provide you what's happening here. Have an amazing day.